Welcome to the Mentor Podcast, where the most highly motivated entrepreneurs come to get their weekly dose of financial stability with host Ron LeGrand, as well as other nationally recognized thought leaders who will teach you how to get, grow, and protect your wealth.
Hello, everybody. This is Ron LeGrand back with another edition of the Mentor Podcast, designed to help you make more money, create more cash flow in your life, retire rich, and protect what you have while you're alive. And I have a very special guest today that you better be interested in, because he's going to talk about cryptocurrency, which is a very hot subject right now. In fact, John, I'm looking forward to this conversation for my own personal greed-driven benefit, because I've been playing in crypto here lately myself. So we have John Tarr with us today. So John, tell us who you are and what we're going to accomplish on this podcast today, and why should we believe anything you tell us?
Yeah, you got it, Ron. Well, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here. We're going to talk a little cryptocurrency, and hopefully we can dispel some myths out there, give some people some clarity on what it is, and maybe how they can participate in it without losing their shirt. And, I'm an entrepreneur and investor, bought my first Bitcoin in 2013. And so I've been doing this for a really long time. And I'm just a big fan of cryptocurrency and the technology behind it. And I think people should look for themselves. They don't have to believe me. Just take a look into the market, and I think everything will become pretty clear for them.
Yeah. My first question is how come you didn't call me and coerce me to buy crypto in 2013?
Well, it was an accident that I bought it, Ron. Of all the things I did, I thought that would be setting my money on fire, and it turns out it was the best thing I did. So if I could go back in a time machine, I'd call you up.
Of course, back then, everybody thought it was a scam anyway, didn't they?
Well,
some still do.
Yeah, some still do. And, I think people didn't really know what to make of it. At least I didn't. But, as entrepreneurs, we're pretty risk tolerant. So I thought, well, what's going to hurt? Put in money that I could afford to lose. And that's what I did. And it ended up not okay.
All right. Well, before we do anything, sir, we have to define what the heck cryptocurrency is and what the heck Bitcoin is, because I can promise you 75% of the people listening really don't know. They just hear the words, not clear on what it is. So maybe you can start there.
Yeah. So let me give the Cliff Notes version here. Basically, Bitcoin arose out of the financial crisis of 2008. There was a bunch of tech guys. I'm not a big tech guy, but there was a bunch of tech guys that said, hey, the financial markets are rigged, and we need to basically form a technology that could allow for a decentralization of our currency. And that's what they did. So they come up with what's called blockchain, and blockchain in its simplest form is just a virtual ledger that doesn't require a third party. That's the technology behind Bitcoin that everybody's raving about. So if you think about going to the bank, Ron, I'm going to swipe your credit card, and the bank's got to tell me that it's okay, and then the credit card company's got to tell me it's okay. And what Bitcoin did, or the technology behind Bitcoin that everybody should be familiar with, is blockchain. And so blockchain doesn't require that third party. It basically happens automatically, and that's the beauty of it. So they create this Bitcoin technology, and what they needed a way to value Bitcoin. And that's when this market started to come up, because, as you know, any kind of method of value or mechanism of payment has to have a value on it. And so that's when these exchanges started popping up, and we can get into more of that. But Bitcoin in its simplest form it's a virtual ledger.
Yeah, and it's all electronic, isn't it, John? There's really no money that changes hands.
Nope, it's all electronic, and it happens decentralized. So it's a lot like thousands and thousands of computers that are doing this all at the same time instead of one centralized company or person.
So I'm going to buy Bitcoin like I buy stock. I'm going to hope that it goes up in value, and I think you're going to tell us some stories about some huge rises in Bitcoin in the past few years.
Yeah.
But honestly, you guys need to quit worrying about how it works. You just need to know that it works, because I'll tell you right now, John can explain it and 10 others, and you still won't truly understand how it works. But it is an up and coming, investment, but it also could be very well be the future, from what I'm reading about it, John. Literally, it could replace currency one day.
Well, we think so. I mean, I think here's the thing, Ron, and you being into the markets and real estate and things, things are worth what the market says they're worth, right? And right now the market says that Bitcoin's going to be, it's worth what it is, and it's most likely going to rise. And I'll tell you why I think it's going to rise. But I think we're a little ways off from it replacing currency. But, the first step to it doing that is getting everybody thinking about it and getting everybody to understand the technology. And that's kind of what's happening. I think people see all the hype around it. And any time that there's huge gains, it's going to get hypey and people are going to get greedy. And that's just the way us human beings like to operate. And that's okay. But the big thing here is Bitcoin's finite. They're not, there's a set number of these Bitcoin that are going to be in circulation. And so I think what people are going to see, it's going to become a store of value, very similar to gold. And it's pretty exciting.
So when they created Bitcoin, how many million coins did they cap it out at?
So Bitcoin is going to be basically they started it at 6,400 per day. And I want to say off the top of my head, there's only ever going to be 21 million total.
That was the number, 21 million, yeah.
21 million. And they did that on purpose because the guys that made it, they didn't want you to be able to print more money. See, that was one of their problems with the governments. So they did it like that. Now, we could get into all kind of conversations that economists will have about deflation and inflation and stagnation and all kind of stuff, which we won't do here. But what Bitcoin has become because of that, Ron, is people are looking at it, and of course, supply and demand. The more money that comes into the market, going to push up that price, and they're not making any more. So kind of like land.
Now, as of this recording, I think I read today that it was at $7,000 and some odd dollars per coin. Was it not?
Yeah, 75.68, right? As I say this right now.
And what was the high that it was
hit,
so far?
A high of $20,000 in December 2017.
Wow, that's a heck of a difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, how'd you do on your Bitcoin? I bet you did okay. What'd you? I don't. You don't have to answer this, but I'm just curious what you bought it at in 2013.
$91 is what I bought it at.
Then you did okay, didn't you, John?
I did pretty well. I'm still hanging on to mine. I haven't sold any of it. I expect it to continue to rise over time, but yeah, I did really well. I did really well.
You did. Yeah, a lot of people got very, very wealthy off of that Bitcoin, didn't they?
Well, the guy that told me to buy it, Max Wright, good friend of mine, he bought it at $12. And I thought, well, Max is pretty smart. He bought it at 12. It's at 90. That seems like a good deal. And that's all I knew about it at the time. But yeah, lots of people are doing well. And the thing, Ron, that's really cool about it right now is you're starting to see, big venture capital companies and institutional companies start to come into this market. And that's a sign that there's going to be money there.
Well, John, first, let me go to the cryptocurrency. Define cryptocurrency, please, first.
Yeah, so basically what happened in a nutshell is you've got Bitcoin, and then all these other technologies started to pop up that their technology was a little superior to Bitcoin, and the term cryptocurrency kind of came into the fold. So cryptocurrency, think of it as an onion. It's got a lot of different things. So when people say cryptocurrency, they're thinking, Ron, that it's a mechanism of payment, but it's much more than that. It's basically a new world market is what people need to understand. And this new world market is where a lot of technological entrepreneurs are going and raising money for their technology. And that's where these new companies or cryptocurrencies are popping up. So people, and the reason that I think it's a good distinction to make is because people think, well, why do we need more than one cryptocurrency? Because they're just relating to it as a mechanism of payment and not necessarily as a source of revenue for these entrepreneurs. And it's basically, it's another world market.
So would you say all of these other companies that have sprouted up are knockoffs of Bitcoin?
Well, not necessarily. Some of them, quite frankly, have superior technology. Like Ethereum's got superior technology than Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's kind of the Coca-Cola and the brand of cryptocurrency. So each one of these companies is just a little bit different. So where you got your retail buildings and your apartment buildings are a little different. Cryptocurrencies like that too. You have XRP, which is more of like a privacy coin. So it hides the ledger, stuff like that. So it's not necessarily superior. It's just a little subtle difference.
Do you? Last time I looked or heard, there was about 1,500 of these companies sprouted up since Bitcoin. Do you think that since there's so many of them, that's going to hurt the rising value of Bitcoin itself?
Well, I think Bitcoin's going to be okay in the long run. I do think what's going to happen in this market is that there's going to be a shakeout. So some of the inferior technologies and the inferior coins that are just there, where they raised money and it wasn't really a viable use to that technology, I think those guys are going to get shaken out. But I think a couple that people should watch are Bitcoin and Ethereum are really strong technologies and coins to watch.
So what you're saying is that a lot of companies are trying to start up and be a Bitcoin, but they don't have the tools, they don't have the technology, and a lot of them are going to crap out. In fact, a lot of them have already crapped out, have they not?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. And what happened, Ron, especially in 2017, it was the year of the ICO. Guys said, hey, I can avoid regulation, or they thought they could avoid regulation, and I'm going to go and I'm going to start an ICO. And I thought my mom was going to call me one day and say she had a new ICO, because that's kind of how it was. And so, yeah, a lot of those are going to get shaken out.
Better tell them what an ICO is, John.
ICO is an initial coin offering. So basically, it's where they go to raise money for their technology and they bring it to the market, kind of like an IPO on the exchanges here.
Okay. And a lot of those ICOs have started up, and a lot of them didn't make it. Some of them will, I imagine. Some of them will do very well, but the problem is we don't know which ones they are. So just like stocks, we can either buy the penny stocks and the startup companies, or we can buy the stabilized stocks, which of course are going to probably cost more money, but have a proven track record. And just like the stock market, we frankly don't have a clue what's going to happen in the future. So we play the game and we play it with money that we can afford to lose and hope we come out on the winning side and draw a full house. Is that about the size of it?
Yeah, I think one thing on a macro level people can look at, Ron, to make it real simple, is that this market right now, as we make this recording, is $350 billion. So it's not little, but it is little compared to the world markets. World markets, $100 trillion. Amazon by itself is $777 billion is its market value. So Amazon, one company on the U.S. stock exchange, is worth twice what the cryptocurrency market is. And so why is that important to people? Well, it's important because, as I mentioned before, institutional money is starting to come into this space, Goldman Sachs and some others. And so if you stay with the Bitcoins and Ethereum, it's supply and demand. As you know, as liquidity comes into the market and the market gains more confidence, prices are going to rise. And so really just everybody's still in pretty early. If they're in early now, and like you said, hey, don't ever, ever, ever spend more money than you can afford to lose, but you got a pretty good chance of making some really good returns on this, because the writing's kind of on the wall and it's just supply and demand. Yeah.
Now, we don't have to buy a full $7,500 coin to get into Bitcoin. We can buy pieces of it, can we not?
Yeah, you can buy $10 a Bitcoin, $5 a Bitcoin. They fractionalize it off. So, yeah, you can just buy whatever you can afford to put in.
All right. Well, how on earth could we possibly know what to buy? You mentioned Bitcoin and Ethereum, but beyond that.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. I mean, we have, I wrote a book, and it's basically, it's called the Crypto Manifesto, and it talks about all these different things. I'd try to simplify stuff, Ron, but it talks about a lot of simple things to help people make a decision on what currencies to buy, where to put their money, how to do it. And, that book is, I think it's like $5.60, and it's a pretty good read, and that'll get people started. And I'll give that link here in a second. I think one thing too, Ron, is just, to dive in and start doing research. But, you start with good reading, good material. And that's what I think my book is. And I think that link is www.thementorpodcast.com. coinbase.com/Tarr, Tarr.
2 R's in Tarr, and that's going to get me your book. I understand you got a pretty good sized blog on this too, don't you?
Yeah, I've got pretty much the largest Facebook community out there. I think we've got 43,000 people strong. It's called Totally Crypto, and we post all kind of really good information in there, and we have a lot of experts. I've done summits with some of the biggest names in this industry. So all good information, no hype. It's kind of what we like to do.
John, do you actually post what you think is going to go up, or make any suggestions on what they ought to do?
Yeah, we do, Ron. I'm a big believer in buying and holding. That's the kind of investor I am. But yeah, we're really involved in the group. It's we have quite a few moderators that are experts as well, and so everybody chimes in on what their thoughts are. But we give I don't want to say we get a lot of investment advice, but we certainly try to point people in the right direction.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's what people need. They need to know where they can get reliable information, because there is just too much stuff out there to buy and too much stuff to absorb. And I know I'm a victim of that myself. My God, stop them, stop! I don't want to know anymore. Just tell me where I should put some money and get rich by next Thursday. That's all I care about. You know, I don't want to have to be an expert in the Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency industry. And you know, I've actually bought a few crypto stocks, but that's a good question. Where do I go to get crypto and Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever I want?
So that's a great question. And there's a lot of different exchanges out there. The one I recommend for people starting out, just Coinbase. And Coinbase has got just a few currencies on their platform. I think four, the biggest one, Ethereum, XRP, and Bitcoin. And I'm off the top of my head forgetting the other, but they can go there, and that's the safest place to buy it. And so that's what I recommend. It's just Coinbase.com.
So go just set up an account and then send them some money, and then buy and sell like you would on stocks on a stock brokerage site, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, a lot of these, Ron, let's point out for people, just something quick not to do. A lot of these exchanges are not regulated. So Coinbase, there's insurance and there's protection, but a lot of the other exchanges, they're not. So buyer beware if you buy off of Coinbase.
So Coinbase is pretty well established, and you trust them to not take off with the money and go bankrupt next week and, ugly things like that, huh?
Yeah. Yep. That's the safest play out there right now.
They're kind of the New York Stock Exchange of crypto, huh?
They are.
I just made that up, John. You can steal that.
I will do that. Good work there. Good work there, Ron. So yeah, they're the safest for sure. Now, hey, Ron, one thing I want to add, I can't say who it is yet, but in about 2 weeks, you're going to see a big institutional company that is coming out with their own platform for cryptocurrency. And so that's coming in a couple of weeks.
I've heard rumors to that effect.
Yeah, so it's going to happen.
I bet your blog will keep us informed on that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you got it. They may just be announcing that on my group, maybe.
Well, we gotta be clear here. You're not collecting anybody's money. You're not making any profit off of their profits. You're not a brokerage house. You're just an information provider. And you really have nothing to sell except maybe your book, and you're giving that away, aren't you?
Yeah, well, it's $5.60. And
you're giving it away.
Yeah. Rod, let me tell you too, I mean, we have some different publications and things like that, but I started the whole cryptocurrency group because I kept getting a lot of family members asking me about it. I bought it in 2013 and it started going up, and there were all these kind of MLM type scammy things out there that people kept getting involved in. And I started the group to sort of be an advocate for Bitcoin without that kind of nonsense.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm glad you did. And I think our listeners right now are going to be glad you did too, because I know for a fact that people know that this cryptocurrency is a big thing. They just don't know what to do or how to do it or where to do it. And I think you've clarified that very well. Why don't you tell everybody where we met?
Well, we met in 2010. at a Dan Kennedy event, an info marketers conference, and I'm a big Dan fan, and you were there. And I told you this story. We sat at this round table, and I was kind of new starting out. And there was a lot of other new people starting out. And boy, you just listened like, you hadn't heard it all before. You took it in, and I always really appreciated that. So we've known each other for a while.
Well, yeah. All right. So, all right. Anything else you want to tell our listeners while I got you? Any brilliant pieces of advice that you've gleaned over these years you've been in this, and maybe what not to do?
Well, I think what not to do is definitely don't be afraid. Right? There's nothing to be afraid of. We live in the information age. And so somebody's got the answer that you're searching for, whether you're an entrepreneur, a crypto investor, a real estate investor, hence the name of the Mentor podcast. Somebody's already done it. So don't be afraid. Just go out and seek the right information so that you can find the right way to do it too. That would be my advice.
Okay. All right. Well, let me get my plug in here while we're at it. And then I want you to give me your site again. Guys, you should be sharing this with everybody you know. So go ahead and go down there and hit that share button right now, because as you just heard, everybody you know needs to hear about this. And we are posting it, of course, so where they can go get it. Bring them to this podcast and tell them how about this and how exciting of information it is. And by the way, if you go take a little bit of time and research what happened to some of these cryptocurrencies since the time they came out and today, you're going to be absolutely shocked. I mean, flabbergasted at the increases on these things. Like we just used for John's example, from $91 to up to as high as $20,000, now $7,500 today. Those kind of investments aren't normal in the stock market or in any other market for that matter. So this cryptocurrency thing is a little bit weird in that regard. Not to say that everything is going to be a Bitcoin, but on the other hand, here's my opinion, and John, you may or may not share this. Go buy 10 of them. Maybe one of them will skyrocket, and the rest of the other 9 are irrelevant, especially if you're not using money that you should be using for groceries. So it's like stocks. You do the same thing with stocks. You go buy what you think is going to go up. Some do and some don't, and hopefully the upside's better than the downside. But boy, stocks just aren't like this crypto thing. They just, I don't see the way they have the potential to skyrocket like this. I know some of them have, and perhaps will continue to do so. But this is a very abnormal investment we've been talking about here. So go share this with your friends. At the very least, check it out and take time to go investigate what has happened to this cryptocurrency since it came out and where it's at today compared to where it was then. You owe it to yourself. Also, if you're listening to this and you know who Ron LeGrand is, I'm the real estate guy, soon to be the crypto guy, John. Just want to let you know.
You got it.
And I go to my website and you'll find some free videos that we just posted from a recent class. Go to ronlegrand.com and you'll see one video where I taught people how to call sellers and confirm that there's a terms deal there and make an appointment to go see the house, which is a very critical video for our business, where we deal with people in beautiful homes and beautiful neighborhoods and buy them on terms. Another video is where we actually visited the house, and you'll see some what am I trying to say? Some skits on us doing that, and people love that. But I also put a video up on land trust. How do you take title to real estate in all 50 states? And I did a whole, probably about an hour seminar on that. In addition to that, there's another one we just posted on IRAs. By the way, John, what a great place to use to buy Bitcoin or any kind of crypto is your IRA.
Couldn't agree more.
And guys, the difference between buying it in your IRA and buying it out of your IRA is tax-free versus taxed. Now, what if you get to the point where John's at, and you bought this stuff when it was cheap and went way through the roof, and now you want to cash out? Believe me, you're better off cashing out when you're not paying the government their great big old bite. Now, the highest tax bracket today is 37%. But just for the record, you don't have to make that much money before you're in the 37% tax bracket. In fact, it is my goal, John, that all of our listeners arrive at the 37% tax bracket as soon as possible for two reasons. More cash flow in your life, and another reason is I can't afford to support this entire government alone on my taxes, so I need some help.
We need some help.
Anyway, yeah, all right. So give me how they get on your blog again one more time and how they get your book.
So, okay, let's give you the book. It's www.thementorpodcast.com/Tarr, Tarr. That's 2 R's. And then you can find me on Totally Crypto at Facebook, or you can catch us at totallycrypto.com.
Totallycrypto.com, and that's where we get on your blog?
Yes.
Because I'm getting on your blog.
Yeah, you can go right there and check us out.
Okay. All right. Now, guys, don't you even think about getting off this till you hit that share button and let everybody you know come listen to this thing. Plus, there'll be a lot of other great podcasts that'll be posted as we do these. We're going to be doing at least 1 a week, maybe soon 2 a week on various subjects that I think you're going to be interested in. So, John, I want to thank you for taking the time to spend with us today. Very enlightening call. I was looking forward to it because I needed that information myself. I was a little cloudy on this crypto thing, and you cleared it all up. You did a great job of simplifying it as well.
Well, thanks,
so thank
Ron.
you very much.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay. All right. See you guys on the next podcast.
That's all for this edition of the Mentor Podcast. To connect with Ron and learn how you can attain financial freedom, as well as up-to-date strategies to grow and protect your wealth based on today's discussion, go to www.connectwiththementor.com.